Hello, I'm here with Mr. Blue this time, also known as Mr. Yellow. And here we are talking about something that's very important. This is talking about them putting signs in UK, no staring, and men are actually getting arrested, or at least one man got arrested already.
Yep.
And men are not allowed to even look at women now.
Yep.
And Mr. Blue, would you like to start off?
Yes, this is what feminism leads to. This is feminist theory put into practice. But let's look at the concept of objectification, right? It's a vague, nebulous concept, but it basically boils down to men looking at women, men desiring women, somehow harms women, like it's a toxic radioactive X-ray or something like that. Okay. And now we've got feminist policing in the UK. We've had it for years, but it's gotten worse now. And men are going to prison for 22 weeks for staring at women. And it's officially a crime. Staring is classified as the same as sexual harassment and sexual assault now.
Yes.
It's classified as a sex crime. Yeah? So women can make children eat dog shit, beat them and abuse them and not face a prison sentence. But men staring at women go to jail for 22 weeks.
Yes,
That's how
it's true.
Yeah.
And I did have a video where that's exactly what there's this woman who made her children eat dog shit, and she was not put in jail. So let's read some of this article.
I just want to point out one thing.
Sure,
This is people are not getting arrested in the USA over this yet, but as that video you did recently of a blind man getting told not to stare at women in a gym, the drive is it's in women over there as well. They want to do that as well in the USA as well.
Of course.
Right? Yes.
Everywhere. It doesn't matter what country you're in, everyone. This is what's going on. Now we'll start. Detective Inspector Sarah White, who leads British Transport Police Sexual Offences Team. Wow, they have a specific team for sexual offences in the transport. Wow. Said our officers, what's that?
I'm going to point out why this is ridiculous, right? The public transport, okay, you might need a police force for public transport. I don't know why, but maybe you do because it has to deal with certain specific things they're trained for. But there's no way in hell do you need a specific police force to deal with sexual assault in the public transport because it's so bloody rare. So when it does happen, the police can deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, she said her officer was receiving daily reports of people committing sexual offenses, including staring.
Oh, I want to interject because I want to point out the tactic here, okay? She's received reports of sexual assault. No, she hasn't. She's received allegations.
Yes, exactly.
The report is acting like it's real. It's not real. It's fake for the most part. Yes.
Now, last month, Transport in London launched a new campaign amid tackling sexual harassment of women and girls, which always pisses me off. They're always including children to try and back up that these grown women are the ones that people give a shit about, including upskirt, catcalling, and staring. So catcalling, in other words, if you said, hey, babe, you look sexy, you could be put in jail for that.
Yes.
You know, all it is, a woman just has to dislike you and call the police, and that's catcalling.
Yeah.
You know. Now, posters have now been placed in tube stations across capital stating intrusive staring and sexual nature is sexual harassment and is not tolerated. Intrusive staring, you know, so yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous, you know. Do you know what it reminds me of? Right? It's like those white racist slavers who own black slaves, and the black slaves looking at them defiantly. He said, don't you look at me like that, boy. And he whipped them for him. The insolence, basically. That's what it is, the insolence. Yeah. The thing is, how do you prove intent? Intent anyway. How can you can't prove intent? It's fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And even if someone is looking at someone sexually, so fucking what? Right? Can you imagine if they passed a law protecting straight men from homosexual men from staring? Like straight men are made uncomfortable by homosexual men looking at them, staring at them in a sexual manner. Can you imagine that? There'll be an uproar about it. This is exactly the same thing here, since it's being directed at straight men.
Yeah. People are just blind to it when it happens to the average guy, because let's face it, they want it to happen to the average guy.
I wouldn't necessarily agree. I think there's a lot of men who don't want it to happen, probably a vast majority, But the problem is they're passive and meek and silent, and they're sidelined by the feminist media.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
media's feminist. Because as you'll read this study, not this study, this news article is normalizing this. They're treating this like this is a good thing. This is
Yes.
a to happen, when they should be condemning this as a human rights violation. This is a human rights violation of men. This is gendered hate policing targeted at men, designed to get low status men and mentally ill men,
Yes.
right? Because you're obviously going to get some mentally ill men who are going to stare at women and flirt with them, and they're going to get arrested. You
Yeah.
know, there's going to be delusional men who are too stupid to know they don't have a chance. They're too low status. They should keep in the lane, so to speak, and they won't do it, and they're going to get arrested. That's what's going to happen to them.
Yeah, exactly. Now the posters are all nice. Let's see over. You said that. Okay. On Sunday, Detective Superintendent.
Just occurred to me. I want to say this before I forget.
Yeah, sure.
These people, they bang on about how serious sexual offences are, right? What a grievous crime it is. Okay. And I actually sort of agree with them. I think it is a very serious crime, right? But then they all turn around and include staring in the same category. So they're not taking it seriously themselves. So I think we can conclude that women are not scared of sexual assault, right? They know it doesn't happen often, and they're just using it to attack and marginalize men.
Yes, of course. Now, she said the Telegraph, it's human nature to stare at things. However, it's very different when someone is staring, leering, and there's sexual motivation. Again, they can't prove that's sexual motivated. And even if it was, it's still harmless.
Yes, exactly. It's like, how dare these people decide what motivation men can have when those actions don't harm anyone? It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's this weird obsession of like, oh yeah, this man's going to photograph me and get off on the photograph of me later on. Like, who cares? Any gay men out there, you can take as many photos of me as you want. You can whack off over them. You can stain them with your cum if you want. I don't care. Just don't tell me about it. I don't care otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. We want to, now this is the other thing, we want to know about the staring because that is the behavior that suggests to me that someone is thinking about sexual behavior that supports that staring. It's circular logic. This is a nonsensical sentence. It's circular. She's basically saying, we want men to just be put in jail. So we want to hear from you girls. We want to hear you girls just point at any guy, we'll arrest them. That's what she's saying here.
I want to say something about the British police. You're traitors to your own country for enforcing these laws, period. And look, the police have always had a female bias, right? I've seen countless examples of women hitting men. I've known them in real life. It's happening to men, right? Women will hit them and the police won't even arrest the woman. As soon as the man's accused of something, right, he's arrested and charged. Yeah, exactly. They don't even bother investigating. There's countless examples of men being arrested without the police even looking at the evidence. Okay, there was a high-profile rape case, a sexual assault case, and the CCTV footage proved that it was impossible for this to happen. Right, some actress claimed that a man fingered her in broad daylight on a train station in middle of the day in front of thousands of people. Right, so he slipped his hand underneath her panties and put his finger up her vagina. In other words, the CCTV footage proved it was impossible for it to happen. It didn't happen. Period. And the case still went to court. So these police, they want to zap men. And you're traitors to your own country. You're traitors to the men of the UK for enforcing these laws. I'm sorry.
Exactly. And I've said before too, that if any guy ever gets arrested over this, he should just stop paying his taxes. Says, I'm not supporting a government that sees me as a second-class citizen. Why would you financially support something that is against you?
Yeah.
Now, last just months, a man was sentenced to 22 weeks in prison after a woman reported him for continuously staring at her on a train in Berkshire. So 22 weeks. Oh my gosh. It's almost 6 weeks. Yeah. It's 4 or 5 months, Yeah.
I want to put this in perspective. You can probably get like a month for punching someone in the face, for assaulting someone. But the male subhuman who dares look at the female extra human who belong to a higher class, you're going to jail for half a year. There's going to be sentences of 1 year. or 2 years handed out. There might even be repeat offences of staring. You go to jail for life. I'm not joking.
Yeah, it is getting worse. Like, I can't even be surprised anymore.
Mhm.
Really, I'm not, because it's just gotten one thing worse after another. We've seen it within years, not just decades now. It used to be decades, now it's years. Every year it gets worse. Let's see. Dominic Bullock, 26, of Spurcroft Road, Thatcham, was found guilty of causing intentional harassment, alarm, or distress after he sat next to a victim of the train, began staring at her intently. Okay, the victim asked Bullock to stop staring several times, making her feel uncomfortable, but he refused. Okay. The victim, did they mention the victim's name?
You know, they don't. They don't. They only mention the male victim, not the male perpetrator, to shame him, basically,
Yeah,
destroy his
yeah.
life. Yeah.
If this woman's such a good person, how come she can't be named? How come she can't stand up and say, "Yep, Becky, whatever her name is, this guy." They're such freaking cowards, every one of them.
The thing is, there is a story where the woman is named, but it didn't go to court because it was just a made up fantasy, in my opinion. Because there was no one charged, then they mention her name.
Yeah, it's in the other article we're going to look at.
Yeah.
Now, did you want to finish this whole article before we jump to the next one?
Let's just jump to the next one because it's
that's what I say, because we are under time constraints. Now, this is the other article. Staring at public transports, his eyes were glued to me. And of course,
the poster.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the poster here.
That posted in the London Underground, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
This is validating female paranoia. That's what it's doing. It's validating female paranoia, validating their fake concerns. So it makes them feel entitled to call the police on men for no reason. Right?
Exactly.
It's putting the idea in the head. This is designed to get men arrested. And this is feminist policing. This is based on the concept of objectification, like I've said before. Okay?
Yeah.
These hate concepts are not just wrong, they're not just ridiculous. They lead to real life, real world harm to men. Men are marginalized. We're second-class citizens. We are oppressed in every single sense of the word. Period.
This is incredible. Bex from East London was traveling home in the tube. See, this is the one you're talking about. They're naming her, right?
Yeah.
And this is the one that doesn't come off as true at all, because notice there's no male perpetrator. That is, you don't mention his name, right? So
no one's listed. It's just an anecdotal story.
Yes,
period.
Exactly. Yeah. London was traveling home from the tube at night in the theater when a man sitting opposite her began staring. The stranger looked directly at her for a 10-minute journey. I was on my phone trying to look anywhere but at him. By the time she reached her stop, she had been made to feel uncomfortable. Poor baby. His persistent staring, and she waited until the last minute to stand up. As she get off, he followed, so she decided to wait on the station concourse for 5 minutes before boarding her bus. He stood less than a meter away looking. After several trains came and left without the man getting on, she bolted for the stairs. Don't they have cameras everywhere in England now?
Yeah, definitely public transport. They've got them everywhere. Yes.
Yes. So this is just a story, but where's the photo evidence, right? So it just sounds like bullshit to me.
And the thing is, there was no crime in this anyway. Yeah. So a guy followed me. He may have been following me. It might just be a coincidence. He may have been following me. You know, he probably was following me. Nothing happened to me, but I feel creeped out. Yeah. Do something about it.
I turned around and he was just waving at me. So the man didn't even do anything to her.
Yeah, if he existed.
If he existed, exactly.
If he existed, he might have just been a socially awkward guy trying to be friendly.
Yeah, exactly. And it also includes, by the way, how can you tell if someone's following you or they just happen to go in the same way? What if he was going the same, like, route as her? Yeah. Beck said initially worried she was overreacting, but says that ironically, one of the new anti-staring posters was placed right above where the man was sitting in the carriage. Yes. You just mentioned it at the beginning. Yes. She saw that picture or that photo. Well, I'm getting it wrong. The poster, and that put it into her head, just as you said, that, hey, this guy's, I thought I was overacting, but that poster told me I wasn't, you know?
Yes. It's validating our hate and paranoia, basically.
Yeah.
You
Seeing
know,
that made me feel I have the right to feel comfortable. See, in other words, comfortable.
I want to say something. You do not have a right to feel comfortable because
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
anything can make you uncomfortable. You know, the color blue can make you uncomfortable. You do not have a right to feel uncomfortable. You psychopath. Okay, your right to feel comfortable does not trample on the rights of other human beings or male human beings. Right? They have a right to feel comfortable, don't they? They have a right to exist, not in your world. Now, I want to say something about men who are in relationships with these women, okay? Because I know how men are going to act. Like the women will go, "Oh, honey, I was on the train today, and this creep was looking at me, and I phoned the police on him." Oh, that's good, dear. I'm glad you phoned the police. You looked out for yourself. The man will validate the woman when she does shit like this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because men are fucking laid down bootlicks of the lowest order. This is disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting. The women who do this are disgusting. The police who enable this and arrest people are disgusting. The feminist police officers are disgusting, right? We've had a feminist director of prosecutions in the UK, and she had to resign because she was like prosecuting too many cases with not enough evidence for rape, right? These vindictive, nasty people are out to get men, out to get them. And men, you're taking this line down. It's getting on my nerves.
Oh yeah, it's just it really is. Like when I started watching these type of things several years ago, I really said, well, men are going to wake up and things are going to change. No, that's the experience is the opposite. Men just lay down and take it every time. Like you said, the last video I did, the guy was laughing, like, this is so ridiculous. I said, no, you should have gotten up and sued that particular gym and put these
Yeah.
people in their place.
Yeah, and I want to say something here, right? Because I've been dealing with right-wing men on social media recently, and they're often waffling on about Marxists and leftists. In the UK, we've had a right-wing government in power for 11 years, right? The current mayor of London is a right-winger, I think, if I remember correctly. I can't remember, but we've had a right-wing government in power, right, for years, and all these laws are getting passed. So it's not leftists. So these right-wing men who like to rant and rave about how corrupt society is, how unfair it is, they remain silent when this sort of stuff happens.
Yes, exactly. As a matter of fact, the reason why they start saying left wing is they don't want to deal with the issue. They don't want to deal with the fact that they're second class citizens as men.
It's not just that; they're loyal to right-wing politics before the truth as well. That's why they're shifting the blame onto the left.
That's right.
It's loyalty. Let's carry on reading the article.
Okay. Okay. Campaign was launched nationwide by the rail delivery group British Transport Police and later by the Transport of London. Geez, everybody's involved. The posters cover a number of unwanted behaviors: catcalling, exposing body parts, inappropriate touching, upskirting, cyber flashing, and staring. Now, staring, catcalling don't even belong in here. I mean, I could see the, exposing your body parts and that sort of thing. But, in recent weeks, the staring posters have put in. What's that? Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Blue.
Exposing your body parts, that used to be a joke. You know, you'd see a comedy sketch with like a flasher.
Oh, yeah,
like,
cool.
You just laugh it off. Like, oh, look at this harmless weirdo.
Yes,
You remember
exactly.
the 70s like this? So, I think so. Yeah, it's but now staring is treated as worse as flashing was in the
Yeah,
past. Ridiculous.
exactly. Recent weeks, the staring poster have been put in the spotlight after man was jailed staring at a woman in the train between Reading and Newbury. This is the one last, the other article. He was found guilty for 22 weeks. Yep, it's that guy. Staring is not illegal. Yes, it is now by men, but intrusive staring of sexual nature that causes harassment, alarms, distress can be classed as public order offense. So staring is illegal.
Yes,
It
okay.
is.
Well, you can't prove it's a sexual nature, right? And anyone can get alarmed and distressed over anything, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So oh, you're ugly. You caused me alarm and distress.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean anything.
Okay, on April 22nd, British Transport Police tweeted that officers in North London had arrested a man who pressed himself against a woman in the train. By the way, that could have been by accident too. They had been following the man because he noticed he was closely watching female passengers. So what? So
Okay,
they're looking for perps.
Here's the thing. I want to point something out, right? Right. If a woman did that to a man, pressed herself against a man, she would not be arrested. We know this.
Yes.
So even in theory, where you could go, yeah, that actually is a crime, they should be arrested, right? I would agree normally, except the woman wouldn't be arrested in reverse circumstances.
Yeah,
That's
of
what
course.
actually, I was once harassed by a woman on the bus, right? And when I told people about it, they were just, oh, you're making a big deal out of it. It's nothing. You should have been flattered. And I think I wasn't particularly offended because she was drunk. She was just getting on my nerves, to be honest. But I knew at the time if a woman was getting treated like that, they'll take it far more seriously.
Oh yeah, of course. And now it's so serious. There's consequences for men.
Yeah.
And of course they're saying it like they said this is for women and girls, but they just mean women. So they're saying that even if it happens to a man, it's not a crime,
Yes.
according to their own words.
Yes.
So it's a double standard altogether. Men are second-class citizens in the UK officially. They are worldwide anyway, but officially for the UK.
Yeah.
Research commission, this is not research, commissioned by TFL, showed intrusive staring is one of the most common types of unwanted sexual behavior experienced mainly, but not exclusively, by women.
Okay, let's pick that apart because this is very important. Okay, it doesn't show this data. Any article that doesn't show the data to a study, doesn't link it or cite it, you can just reject as a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lie. Okay, and this is a self-reporting study. So it's people, even if this study did take place, it's people claiming this is happening, all right? And this unwanted sexual behavior. Do you see how they've brought down the definition and blurred lines? So unwanted sexual behavior, right? That's got connotations of rape, that term, doesn't it? Makes you think of rape.
Exactly.
Now they're putting staring in the same category. So these people, oh no, it's really serious. You know, rape's an epidemic, you know, it's a really serious problem for women. Then they put staring in the same category.
Exactly.
It's disgusting.
It could be even sitting too close or anything like that, bumping up to them, anything. Yes. So I mean,
but they always water down the definitions, they make them blurred, they make them nebulous, and then you link the more serious crimes, the rare ones, to more common things that are petty and minor or not even crimes. Basically, it's a scale of systematic misogyny, a cultural entitlement, blah blah blah. It's a sliding scale. You know, the smallest offences, micro transgressions, they'll escalate to full-blown gang rapes in the streets. Nonsense like that. That's what feminist theory basically is.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is woman Lucy Thornburn from Manchester. And she was in the train, central London, around 9 o'clock in the morning. She experienced unwanted intrusive staring. She says for the duration of her 25-minute journey, a man had his eyes glued to her. Notice it's the same as the other story. They mention her name. The man doesn't have a name. Yes. So it sounds like a made-up bullshit story. And there she is with a big smile on her face. I got abused on the bus. Everyone looked at me.
After 10 spoiled little brat. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. After 10 minutes, I began to feel really uncomfortable. I thought maybe my music was too loud, turn it down, but I knew subconsciously it wasn't, as if the tube was busy and he was the only one looking. So, sorry, she doesn't believe that. I don't believe her when she says that she thought her music was down. She looked at this guy, saw him, and said, I don't like this guy. Trust me. You know, she considered getting off, but had to make a connecting train. Why should I leave because of him? She's basically saying, yeah, he should be gone.
Yes. So no, if you're bothered by someone and they're not doing you any harm, you should leave, right? They've got a right to exist and not be bothered by you, right? Men are not subhumans.
Staring might not seem that bad to some, but it is the start of something. Okay, this dog didn't do anything to her.
Yeah.
So it didn't start anything. She's just saying, this guy was looking at me. I don't like his face. I've been stared at before. Then it has led to being followed.
She's lying.
This is bullshit. Dr. Fiona Vera Gray from London Metropolitan University Child and Women Abusive Studies Unit. They're always putting in children with these women. Oh, geez, I hate that. Says intrusive staring has come up in her work as subtle form of public sexual harassment.
Doesn't see what her work is, basically. Her work is to sprout feminist venom. Now, most child abuse and child murder, child neglect it's done by women. Women
Yes.
are the primary killers and abusers of children. They lead men by a huge margin. Mothers even out-abuse, even proportionately, they out-abuse stepfathers, right?
Yes.
So,
Exactly. You know
so
this.
if there's a studies for women and children sexual abuse, right? The study should be about women abusing children and how to stop it.
Yeah. They shouldn't be categorized together.
Yes.
It's basically saying here's a category of abusers and abused people we put together. There's a sense of being under surveillance, watch, evaluated, but also its experience of dehumanization. Oh my
This
God.
is actually this is actually projection. It's the men
Yes.
being scrutinized, they're being watched, they're being nitpicked, and they're being targeted, marginalized, harassed, because it is harassment, falsely phoning police on men for no reason is harassment. They're the ones being dehumanized and marginalized. Everything that feminists accuse men of doing, right? It's projection every single time. And a newspaper is validating this. They're not
Yes.
offering counterpoint, they're not offering counter arguments. They're just validating this nonsense like it's legitimate, and it's not legitimate.
Yeah.
This is actually hate speech.
Exactly. Well, I'm telling you now, we know that almost every publication is feminist or has
Yeah.
feminist leanings,
They've
or
taken over
at the
the
very
media. They've
least,
taken over the media. They've taken over the right-wing Sun. So when the
yeah,
right-wing waffles on about the left, the Sun is the paper that libeled Johnny Depp. He was the one that tried to, that was the paper sued in the UK for the Amber
yeah,
Heard accusations. Okay.
yeah. We just want to keep pushing it. There's no left or right wing dynamic to this.
The feminist media owns both political parties, both sides in the
Yes.
West.
Okay. Beck says that there's a clear difference between someone who is people watching and somebody looking and staring at you, whatever. Do we really want to read the rest of this woman's bullshit
Let's just
story?
finish this off. Let's just finish this off. It's nearly finished.
Okay. Just for the time limit, I'm thinking, okay. Jamie Klinger of Reclaim the Streets agrees. Reclaim the street. Oh, yeah. Okay. We've all been caught admiring someone's shoes or outfit, but it's the act of staring with intent which makes a victim want to change their behavior. That's the posters are trying to tackle.
Fuck
Yeah,
off.
right.
Fuck
Bullshit.
off. And
Yeah.
you know, how dare you? And Reclaim the Streets is a feminist hate group, basically.
Yeah.
It's basically they've been around since the 70s, and they go, "Oh, men, there's systematic violence against women. It's an outrage. Do something about it, men. You're all scum. You're all responsible for women getting murdered." It's when a serial killer murders some women, they march on the streets and blame all men for it.
Exactly.
Basically, it's the same as white nationalists marching the streets and blaming all crime on black people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. University of Kent, Dr. Aphrodite Pina, I don't know if I got her name, says the fact staring can cause such deep anxiety and the fear should be enough for those watching others to wish to abstain from doing it. Oh, wow. Pathetic. The British Transport Police spokesperson said it was a priority to drive out all forms of sexual harassment from the train network, that all reported incidents would be recorded to help build a picture of offending behavior.
No, fuck you. First of all, it's a report. It's a report. Okay.
Oh, just a minute. We're running out of time.
All right, I know we are running out of time. It's a report, though, right? So how can it be the picture of offending behaviour? It's a report of alleged behaviour, right? That's pissing me the fuck off. Those little, you see what they do very subtly, though, right? They
Yes.
take a report and act like it's 100% fucking true. You know, sexual harassment doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned, or the current concept of it, it's so vague and nebulous, it's been watered down and made completely meaningless.
And also drive out all forms. In other words, they're going to drive out men, is what they're doing, because everything a man does is considered sexual harassment by these people.
Yes.
So basically, men will just stop taking the train. They'll just say, sorry, I can't afford to go on there.
Well, men can't stop taking the train because men are in the provider role. Men want relationships. Let's be real here. They don't have to take the train and get a job, go to work, commute. They're going to have to take the risks. And most men are. It'll be better if officially when, you know, men, you're out of society, you can't work. At least we'd know where we stand. At least women would have to provide for us and we would have to live off welfare off them. But what they're doing is worse. It's a plausible deniability, basically. The lies, the pretense.
Yeah.
You know,
they want guys still working, but they want to arrest us too, in addition, you know. It's like 1984, the boot stamping on the face forever and ever. That's what
Yes.
it is.
Feminist boot.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that the end of the article?
Okay, we're done with that. I think we're done. We've got less than 10 minutes, so I think we did good. Thank you, Mr. Blue.
No, I've got to emphasize something very important. Okay.
Please do.
This is the reason why we did this hangout. If you're watching this and you've never watched any of our videos before, if you're new to us, even if you're not new to us, you've got to wake the fuck up if you're male. You have to wake up. This is serious. It's only going to get worse. This is feminist theory put into practice. And if you said to me 15 years ago, right, that, oh, men will be arrested for staring at women, I would have laughed at you. I said, yeah, there's some problems with feminism, but that's a massive exaggeration. Don't be ridiculous. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. Okay. So who knows what else is going to happen? Who knows?
Yeah. These Nazis have been at work since the 1960s.
There's
And
boys in India who've been raped by older women, right? Boys too young to consent. The women have raped them. And the boys of 12, 11, or 13 years old, they're the ones who've been arrested.
yes.
So we might see, we might even see toddlers getting arrested. Male toddlers been molested by their mothers or by adult female. They might be the ones arrested. It might sound ridiculous, but it might happen. We let feminists have their way.
Well, the ridiculous has already happened, as you mentioned. Like, I'll do a video on that eventually, where the 13-year-old boy was arrested for being abused by a woman. Well, anyway, that's another story. Thank you, Mr. Blue. And I agree with you 100%. Let's end it here. Thank you, sir.
Okay.